Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 5.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for NBC 16 at 5. I'm Alan Matthews. Oregon Health Authority announces 90 new coronavirus cases, bringing the state total to 826 cases and 21 deaths. The most recent deaths are a 61-year-old man in Washington County and a 91-year-old woman in Marion County. Most of the cases remain up north in Washington, Marion, and Multnomah counties. Looking at our region, Lynn County stands at 37 cases, including 2 deaths. Deschutes County has added 5 cases. That brings their total to 32. Lane County added 1 case and has 21 cases with 1 suspected death. Benton County added 2 cases and has 13, including 1 death. Douglas County has 10 cases. There are still 0 confirmed cases in Coos County. Lane County Public Health announced the new case in the area is a Eugene Springfield man in his 50s who is currently in intensive care. Lane County Public Health spokesperson Jason Davis stressed that healthy people should not wear masks. He says equipment like N95 masks need to be safe for hospital workers, but if someone is sick, a surgical mask might be a good idea.
The surgical masks are not an effective way to prevent contracting COVID-19. They don't have the proper filters in place to be able to filter out the tiny viral particles. What they can do, though, is if you're sick, you're sneezing, you're coughing, and they can act as a barrier to prevent some of that moisture that's coming out of your mouth or nose from reaching into the air and to people around you. So that's really the best way to use those.
Davis says seniors or people with underlying conditions should get guidance from their doctor, but whether you have a mask or not, it is important for people to stay home as much as possible. Douglas County health officials also addressed the latest numbers involving coronavirus in the county. The totals now include a case on the Oregon coast.
Douglas County had 10 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Those cases are widespread throughout Douglas County, including 1 case in the Reedsport area.
Dr. Dannenhofer says that those include men and women from 40 to 70 years old. He says the numbers come out on an hourly basis. To protect the patient in Reedsport, Dannenhofer says that they are not releasing any identifying information or what healthcare facility treated the patient. Dannenhofer is reminding everyone to practice social distancing and stay at home. Healthcare workers across the country are in desperate need of personal protective equipment to protect themselves from the coronavirus. CNN reports that the strategic national stockpile of protective gear is now nearly depleted, shipping out its last round of gear to hospitals. This means private companies will need to start making more personal protective equipment as long as they get government clearance. NBC 16's Kelsey Christensen spoke with the Oregon Nurses Association today, who says that they need more PPE now, or this pandemic could turn into something close to a nightmare.
We are the people that are running towards the fire to help others. And right now we're getting burned.
It's a dire situation for frontline healthcare workers. The Oregon Nurses Association shares what it's really like inside the hospitals, a depleting supply of equipment that workers need to protect themselves from the coronavirus.
On the coast, they are storing their dirty masks in paper bags and Rubbermaid containers to reuse again. And in Central Oregon right now, some of our nurses have been wearing the same N95 mask for 3 weeks straight.
An ER tech from the Peace Health Riverbend Hospital tells us the situation locally.
We are all currently working 12-hour shifts, and we are asked to only use 1 surgical mask per shift.
The problem is these masks are designed for single use only, meaning used masks could carry germs from patient to patient, and our healthcare workers will be exposed to the virus if masks run out.
The next wave of this epidemic could be healthcare providers. If we can't get them protection at the bedside and support after they get sick, there'll be no one left to care for the surge.
Kevin Mealy with ONA says some Oregon nurses have already tested positive for COVID-19. He says hospitals, state and national government should have been more prepared.
Even though we'd seen the risk of Ebola, we'd seen the risk of SARS, we didn't take the lessons from those previous pandemics and get prepared.
Moving forward, the solution will lie greatly on private companies to produce PPE. Here in Oregon, that's a company like Nike, which is already taking action. But they'll need to cross federal red tape when it comes to approvals to get certain supplies into hospitals. Reporting in Eugene, I'm Kelsey Christensen.
Now, we did reach out to Peace Health about their personal protective equipment supply, and Vice President of Medical Affairs, Dr. James McGovern, says, quote, "We are aggressively monitoring and restocking these supplies using both traditional and unconventional sources." He goes on to say, based on current and projected usage rates, we have sufficient PPE for caregivers in all 4 of our Oregon hospitals. Lane County is asking for masks, gloves, and gown donations for medical workers on the front lines. The new gear will be donated to local and state healthcare workers treating coronavirus patients. The county has a warehouse in Eugene and recently opened a spot on the coast in Florence. Donations are being collected Monday through Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. You can drop off the items without leaving your car. For the address of both drop-off sites, you can go to our website at NBC16.com. We now move to our first look at weather. NBC 16's Heather Melendez now joins us. Another wet day today, but it looks like we'll get a break from the rain relatively soon.
Yes, very briefly though, but right now we are seeing some overcast skies and some low clouds right now out in Eugene. They're just really harmless, not making much movement in terms of rainfall. We are seeing a little bit of sprinkles though in Eugene and in Corvallis. Again, not amounting to much until our next rain system that's coming in over the weekend. But with the combination of cooler nights and rain, we will have a chance to wake up with some frost in those early morning hours. Tonight we will see some soggy conditions for those sidewalks. We'll have a chance to see drier ones tomorrow, but again, we'll wake up with some dry skies, maybe some frost in the early morning times. I'll let you know when to expect our next rain system and how much rain we'll see in my full weather forecast. Alan?
All right, thank you so much, Heather. Well, Douglas County has confirmed 10 cases of coronavirus, and so far 5 people have been hospitalized. Douglas County commissioners are trying to curb the spread of coronavirus with an emergency operations center. NBC 16's David Ochoa gives us a look inside.
The outbreak of the coronavirus in Douglas County has led to the creation of a local response team.
At the end of the day, having all these organizations helping us, having us all work together, my goal is to make sure we've done everything possible from Douglas County government perspective, working with our partners to do the very best we can responding to this pandemic.
The Douglas County COVID-19 response team is made up of health organizations and public safety groups. They'll work together independently, but will come together for the strongest response to the emergency.
It was a big step for us to provide some structure and organization in the efforts that we're doing to respond to COVID.
The team will work to minimize county deaths from the virus, keep the medical system from being overwhelmed, ensure the safety of healthcare workers, and get information out quickly.
The truth is, right now, it's truly an exercise in understanding what resources you have, understanding the needs, and marrying those up in the smartest way possible.
Casey Bolton is a commander of the team. He spent nearly 3 decades in the Army Medical Department, commanding hospitals in Iraq and Alaska.
Incident management teams like this one are usually deployed after disasters such as wildfires. And local incidents like the Snowmageddon last year or the UCC tragedy has prepared the county for emergencies like this. Reporting in Douglas County, I'm David Ochoa.
Before the coronavirus pandemic, Oregon had the 3rd highest untreated addiction rate in the nation, and it ranks almost last with access to treatment, according to advocacy group Oregon Recovers. Advocates of the treatment and recovery community want public health officials to keep an eye out on liquor sales during the stay-at-home order, especially now with the significant reduction in access to treatment and recovery because of social distancing requirements. Advocates are also setting aside hundreds and thousands of dollars for emergency grants and treatment services.
And due to the challenges of COVID-19, we are seeing even less of an access to treatment at this time, and all of the resources that are available to the recovery community have pretty much evaporated overnight. So people that are trying to maintain their recovery from drug and alcohol addiction don't have access to the same services that they did a few weeks ago.
Coming up at 5:30, with the lack of treatment resources and services during the pandemic, NBC 16's Angelina Dixon shows us what the solution may be and what kind of trends local stores are seeing with alcohol sales. Well, make sure to sign up for our newsletter to get the latest updates on local stories in your inbox. To sign up, visit NBC16.com/sign-up. Just type in your email address and click sign up. Well, coming up on NBC 16 at 5, 6.6 million workers nationwide filed unemployment claims last week. Who is getting hit hardest here in Oregon?
94.5 Mix FM. I'm in love with the shape.
It's at 5.
The Oregon Employment Department received over 92,000 unemployment claims last week. In comparison, the week of March 8th, the state received nearly 5,000 claims. This since Governor Kate Brown ordered restaurants and bars to shut down in mid-March. According to the report, hotels and restaurants are the hardest hit, making up more than a third of the claims. Multnomah, Washington, and Lane counties are in the top 3 counties with the highest claims in Oregon. The department encourages anyone to file an online claim on their website. Well, nationwide, 6.6 million workers applied for unemployment benefits last week. NBC 16 chief political correspondent Scott Thuman has the debate over how quickly or if Congress needs to pass another emergency aid package.
With many of America's doors now shuttered and signs of apology that may stay up for months, the economic impact of the coronavirus is becoming depressingly clearer. Just a few weeks ago, the number of Americans filing for unemployment claims hovered around 200,000. Then last week's report showed a massive spike to 3.3 million. This week's figures, a staggering 6.6 million new claims.
That was quite a shocking number. We're hoping that the package we passed for small business will help the employment numbers so they'll be able to keep people on their payroll.
Thursday, another $25 billion was distributed by the Department of Transportation to keep public services up and running. $3 billion also went out Thursday to help find emergency shelters for the homeless, a group at high risk during the pandemic. Although there is a small glimmer of good news in how many patients are being treated and released.
Number of daily discharged is going way up. That's good news. Number of people going to the hospital is going up. Number of people coming out of the hospital is going up.
But still, political fighting over decision-making, like in Florida, where the governor finally issued a stay-at-home order. But even then, some worry it falls well short of being safe.
He left the gun shops open, and he told people they could go to religious services. No one in South Florida believes that you should go to church. In fact, our bishop of the Catholic Church has said, we'll do virtual church.
Acknowledging the long-term forecast, Democrats have now moved their national convention from July until August, delaying when they'll officially pick a nominee to challenge President Trump. On Capitol Hill, I'm Scott Thuman.
If orders to stay home stay around through the fall, Oregon Senator Ron Wyden wonders what will become of our national election.
It may well come down, folks, to the choice of either not voting or voting by mail. In other words, I think that it really will come down to that, and I don't see any plan B for elections this year under the worst case analysis if states don't adopt vote by mail.
Wyden is working with Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar to try and protect voting rights during the coronavirus pandemic. At least 5 states have already delayed their presidential primary elections to slow the spread. Wyden has introduced legislation to ensure voters in all states have 20 days of early in-person voting and no excuse absentee vote by mail.
And turn on those heaters. It's going to be a cold one, but we will have a chance to see some sunshine tomorrow. I'll let you know how dry we'll stay after the break.
This is the Radio Rule Book. NBC 16 News at 5.
Food for Lane County's spring plant sale is now moving online. This is usually the time where people come out to a farm to buy flowers, herbs, and vegetables, with the proceeds supporting Food for Lane County. People can now order plants online and then schedule a day and time to go pick them up. Dawn Marie Woodward with Food for Lane County says the plants have been flying off the digital shelves.
Apparently there is an increased demand in people wanting to have gardens this year, creating more food security at their house. And so we've seen a great response to this.
Woodward says the demand is so high that some plants may no longer be available. She says the summer plant sale is still on for next month with the same online ordering system.
And now weather with Heather Melendez.
Well, we had a glorious start to the day. We did see a beautiful sunrise this morning, plenty of cloud coverage, and those low clouds really started to make its way, allowing the sunshine to peek through. We did see some daytime highs reaching the 50s, but those low clouds started to really just simmer down here in the valleys, allowing us to see some beneficial showers for those afternoon hours and even right now. So helping these guys out for sure. We'll continue to see that into the weekend, but for tomorrow, we'll see a dry day, seeing some partly cloudy conditions. Again, our next wave of rain will be this weekend, but a silver lining is that we'll continue to see some drier days for the next week. So as we look into our satellite radar right now, we again did not see much rainfall for today. It really started to taper out and will continue to really taper out for our Friday tomorrow. We are seeing some lows though in the 30s today. So with that moisture in the air and cooler conditions, we'll have a chance to wake up with some frost in those overtime windshields and for the grass as well, but we will see our next weather maker will just quickly pass on by for our Friday. We're just seeing some lingering moisture make its way on eastward for our Friday. Again, it's just going to be partly cloudy skies, but again, we will see that rain for our weekend. We will have an included front making its way up to western Oregon, giving us plenty of showers for our Saturday into our Sunday, and then pretty much conditions will taper out and see sunshine for the next week. Looking at our model forecast though, by 8 o'clock today, we're just seeing some cloud coverage. We'll start to see some drier conditions for those early morning times, allowing us to see some cooler conditions reaching frosty conditions. But as we head into the afternoon times, we're pretty much clearing on out, just seeing some clouds, having a chance to see some sunshine. By 8 p.m., conditions will start to fog up again, and in those early morning times, we'll have a heavier set of rainfall moving on in for western Oregon. We'll see rain for most of our Saturday, seeing those snow elevations really lower in those higher elevated mountain areas, but really just seeing rain for Saturday and Sunday. Now take a look at this. Our rain accumulations aren't really adding much for the next 24 hours, but by Saturday when that rain system hits, we're at least seeing almost a quarter inch of rain and having a chance to see half an inch of rain for those coastal areas like Bandon and Gold Beach. So definitely prepare for that rainfall, and it'll start to taper out by our Monday. Now our silver lining is tomorrow will be dry. It's brief, but it will be back in the forecast. Conditions tomorrow will be in the 50s, seeing some partly cloudy skies. Again, tonight will be a cold one though, so although we wake up with some dry skies, you might have some frost on those windshields. We'll warm up back into the 50s for the week. Saturday bringing in some rainfall into our Sunday, but by Monday conditions will taper out and we'll have 3 more days of sunshine in the forecast, having a chance to reach the upper 50s for the tail end of our 7-day. And for those out in the South Coast, we're seeing some cooler conditions tonight, but managing to warm back up into the 50s. Tomorrow will be dry, but rain will return for our weekend. Monday's looking a little bit drier, but Tuesday to Thursday we'll have plenty of sunshine to go out, enjoy those outdoors, and temperatures will be consistent in the 50s. If you're out in the Umpqua Valley, we're seeing some frosty conditions tonight. We'll warm up into the 50s tomorrow. We'll see drier conditions for our Friday. Saturday into Sunday, we'll have a second wave of rain, but by Monday, conditions will taper out, and then we'll have 3 consecutive dry days. So pretty much 50s for the next couple of days, but Alan, we will have a chance to see some 60-degree weather by Tuesday.
All right, thank you so much, Heather. Well, a veteran in Oregon is marking 2 big milestones this week, turning 104 and recovering from coronavirus. William Lapskis, who lives at a veterans home in Lebanon, is one of at least 15 residents who tested positive for coronavirus in March. Lapskis was diagnosed at the start of March and took a turn for the worse after 8 days. His family feared he might not make it and are now celebrating a wonderful recovery as he gets better every day. His son-in-law says he could be an inspiring example.
We're hoping that this goes out to all the people out there that are sick and have this problem going on, that if Bill can survive this at 104, anybody can step up. You can do it.
William was asked how he feels on his 104th birthday. He responded, "Pretty good, I made it." The family is praising the Veterans Home workers for showing so much love and compassion during these difficult times. And if you go to our own page at NBC16.com, you can find more information on how to cope with the coronavirus pandemic. There are resources on meals for students, senior shopping hours, and help for business owners. Just click the tab for more information. Well, coming up on NBC 16 at 5, stimulus checks are still a big question for some. How the IRS will make sure Social Security recipients get their checks.
If you have postmenopausal osteoporosis and a high risk,
will you get a stimulus check if you collect Social Security? Well, the Treasury Department now says that you do not have to file a tax return in order to get a payment. Beneficiaries will automatically see the money. The IRS will use the information the Social Security Administration already has on file. If you get your benefits in your bank account, you'll get your check the same way. Those who get it by mail, same thing, but it'll take a little longer. In 17 different warning letters, Oregon's Attorney General accuses businesses of overcharging for items like toilet paper, hand sanitizer, bottled water, and even surgical masks. Michael Ostrander says that he filed a complaint with the AG's office after paying $30 recently for 3 canisters of disinfectant towels and nearly $15 for 2 cans of disinfectant spray online, only to realize later that those prices were way out of line with what he found available in local stores.
Complaints.
That's great if they're actually going to enforce it. You know, but a lot of times you just get a lot of talk about what we're going to do. We're doing this, we're doing that, but you never see it. You know, the average person such as myself, we don't hear about it unless we hear about it on the news.
Michael said he is glad that Oregon's Department of Justice is pursuing price gouging complaints. And as a reminder, make sure you are not a victim to price gouging. If you see prices for items by more than 15% in store or online, report it to Oregon's Attorney General. You can see the number on your screen. That's 503-378-8442. According to AAA, the national average price of gas is at $1.97 rather. Here in Eugene, the current regular price of gas is at $2.61, when just 1 month ago it was at $2.94. That's about a 30-cent decrease. Well, many Americans are going back to playing board games and buying toys to pass time while staying at home. Eugene Toy and Hobby has seen a small uptick in online toy sales. The #1 seller has been jigsaw puzzles. Other favorites are plastic and wooden cars, airplanes, and other modeling kits. Delivery fees have also been reduced to encourage online orders. If you place an order for pickup, you will pay online and get your toys delivered curbside to your car. Well, coming up on your only local news at 5:30, coronavirus cases surpass 800 in Oregon. We're going to hear from nurses who are facing medical supply shortages.